I hope you're enjoying your July 4th holiday. I know I am. I'm out on my back deck and a bit of a blustery winds around, and I almost wish I was out sailing. I wanted to review where I think we are in terms of all of your efforts to learn how to sail. First, very pleased. I mean, those of you who have been able to attend a lot of sessions really are starting to become great little sailors. You know, you're building some skills, and I think you'll continue to improve as we move over the summer. I wanted to just give you a sense of what our instructors are saying and give you some of my own observations of where I think we are. Let's get to our instructor comments. In terms of tacking, our instructors are really quite pleased that you're grasping that idea of getting the bow across the wind and getting the sails full on the other side of the tack. It's an important skill as we learn how to sail, and helps us in terms of, well, frankly, getting that basic skill down. General sailing, not only does that include tacking, it includes setting a course, changing your sails based on wind conditions. Again, they really are quite pleased that you're really beginning to develop and gain the confidence as sailors. Let's talk a bit about knots. Every day we tie a couple of knots, and it's, you know, you're, again, doing well. Our stopper knot for for the ends of our sheets, and that is our main sheet and our jib sheets. Really, you've really accomplished that, and that again is important because we don't want to have those lines fly away and lose control of the boat. Our cleat hitch, again, as you know, that's the knot that we use to attach the boat to the dock. And let me just go through those steps for the cleat hitch. That first we grab it, that is, we get that line around the first part of the cleat. I'm not going to go through all the different steps other than to just say what they are. And that is to grab it, control it, set it, lock it. If you remember those steps as you go through the process of putting that cleat on, I think it will help you to master that knot. All of us who are sailors face challenges, and we want to help you work through those challenges. And we just see them as challenges, and really that's a positive because it's a part of building the skill as a sailor. Heading up. What happens sometimes when the wind velocity increases or the wind shifts a bit, you'll find that all of a sudden your sails are not full. Now, heading up occurs when perhaps the wind increases in velocity a bit, and the boat will have a tendency to turn toward the wind. That's called a weather helm. And how are you aware of that? Well, you can see the telltale that's on the shroud, which is the wire that connects up to the mast, that keeps the mast up. And you'll see that that telltale is blowing back toward you at the helm. Very simply, you can either push the tiller away from you, the tiller extension away from you, or pull it towards you to cause yourself to get back into the wind. If you're on the high side of the boat, which you should be, generally you just want to pull that tiller extension toward you and cause your boat to fall off the wind or go away from the wind and refill those sails. So be aware of that tendency to head up, because all of a sudden the boat just starts drifting up into wind, especially as that velocity increases. And tied to that is really the idea of wind awareness. And wind awareness is that whole realm of the idea of understanding where the wind's blowing from. I can feel a gust picking up right now around here. You can look at trees in the area. You can look at flags. You can look on the water to see, is a dark patch coming your way? If that is, that's probably certainly an increase in velocity. Sometimes you get a sense of the wind direction. You'll see that the water is calm, and all of a sudden you'll see a line of ripples start to head your way. You can pretty well prepare that you're going to receive some wind that will help you sail your boat. You can also look at other boats out on the water, particularly those that are above you, sailing higher to the wind than you are, and see what is going on with that boat. Is it on the same course you're on? Is it able to sail in a different direction than you're sailing right now? Or are their sails luffing like crazy because there's a big gust coming up or down the river? So you can prepare for that and adjust your sails and prepare your crew on your boat for that. Again, always want to make sure that helmsperson is on the high side of the boat, because he or she then can look upwind a little, you glance over your shoulder, look upwind to make sure that you know what's coming and how you can utilize a change in wind. Part of that is that gust, those big gusts that can happen. And as we know, that's pretty common down on the river. The second part of it is shifting winds, shifting in direction. All of a sudden, I've seen sailors look up and say, what happened to the wind? Well, it just changed about 20 to 30 degrees. And either you have to adjust your sails or adjust your course to keep your sails full and to keep your boat moving. Docking. Believe me, not an easy thing to do. A lot of you are getting a lot better about it, but it still is a challenge. We always dock our boats with our bows to the wind so that we can get that wind out of the sails as we are close to the dock. We want to approach the dock, if at all possible, on a close reach. Remember, a close reach is when the sails are slightly out a bit. And it is not a close hole where your sails are in tight. And the reason we want to come in on a close reach is that way, if there's a shift in the wind direction, we can maintain that course and let our sails in, or pull our sails in or let them out in order to be able to stay on course to go toward a dock. Speaking of going on course toward a dock, make sure that you're not aiming for the downwind edge of the dock. If there's any shift in the wind, you'll likely find yourself having to tack out and go back out on the water to get to dock. If we're coming in and we're aiming our boat toward, let's say, the lower half or the lower quarter of the downwind end of the dock, and you can tell that by the way our sailfish is flying, our wind indicator, the windsock that is on our dock, you can see where that wind is blowing from, so that you can then aim for that lower quarter of that of where if there are no boats there, obviously, or you'll want to head up a little bit and find an open area so you're not banging into another boat. Let's also talk about the idea of a strategy when you're coming into dock. You'll want to make sure that you have what's called an escape plan. Not all docking is going to work. You're going to come in, the wind's going to shift, things are going to go crazy, the velocity goes way up, maybe someone pulls into the spot that you're going to take. You need to be able to tell your crew, okay, we're coming in now, our escape plan is I'm going to tack away if something goes awry here. And make sure they know it, and make sure they know where you're going to turn so that you can prepare to tack very quickly if it is necessary. Finally, in terms of the sailing challenges, getting caught close to shore. It's called a lee shore, or a downwind shore, meaning the wind kind of almost blows you right into the shore. It is really a common problem on sailors just learning how to sail, because all of a sudden you can't believe you're running out of water, meaning you're heading right into shore. And you have limited maneuverability there, because if you turn one way, you'll go right into the shore. The answer to that is that, especially on days of shifting wind, try to stay away from the shore. I know that's difficult as you're coming back to dock, because I want you to stay fairly close to our side of the river, but try not to try to tack, if you will, right next to that, right next to the shore, because again, very easily you could end up stuck in being close to shore, and I'll have to come with a safety boat and pull you out of there. As we get ready for July 11th, I'd like you to review a couple things. Please do it, because I think it'll help you. One is Sailing in a Nutshell. Remember, that's that two-sided sheet that I've distributed. I've also emailed it to everyone. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll email it again. The second one is our rigging and de-rigging sheet. The more time that we spend rigging and de-rigging the boats, the less time we have for sailing. If you get that down, we can rig these boats in 20 minutes and de-rig them in about 15. So you give a chance to look at that, and you'll find that it kind of decreases the frustration when you're trying to get ready to sail a boat or get ready to put the boats away so you can go home. Lastly, our next phase. We're teaching you how to sail, and we hope you become, and we believe you will become, competent sailors. But we want to kind of take it to the next step. We want to have a little more fun. We're going to start introducing racing. And this will be a bit of short course racing, And we'll even be awarding some award stars for that if you come in first. We also award, being on the ball if you exhibit a certain skill as you are sailing. So you don't have to win in order to achieve something. Most importantly, it really will help you to hone your skills, because you'll watch other sailors sailing faster than you. You'll say, hey, if I set my sail this way, maybe I can catch them. So we'll be introducing racing. And we're introducing racing to prepare for the fall. And in the fall, we'll be having our second annual Regatta on the Allegheny. You may have seen the video that is on our website and also in our newsletter. It was a lot of fun. It's an award ceremony. It's a great time. We have a nice pizza party at the end of it. So, let's work hard. Let's continue to build those skills to get ready for that our Regatta on the Allegheny, our second annual, that will be held on October the 5th. Again, look forward to seeing you on July 11th.